The Infinite Stairs 1. The stair did not begin with a door. That troubled Loric more than if it had. A door could be barred. A door could be blessed. A door could carry old iron, old runes, old warnings carved by hands wise enough to fear what waited beyond the threshold. A door at least confessed that there was a boundary between one place and another, but this had no boundary, only an opening in the stone floor of the ruined watchtower, wide enough for a man in armor to descend if he turned his shoulders carefully, dark enough that the lantern at Loric's belt seemed to shrink the moment he stepped near it. The stair curled downward around a hollow center, each step cut from black stone worn smooth in the middle by feet that had passed long before his birth. The edges were chipped. The wall beside it was damp. Water gathered in the seams between the blocks and slid down in slow trails like the tower itself had begun to sweat from fear. Loric stood at the first step and listened. No wind rose from below. No echo climbed up. That was wrong too. He shifted beneath the weight of the shield strapped across his back. The old leather harness creaked over his shoulders. Chainmail whispered beneath the tattered tunic that hung to his knees, its frayed hem brushing against the tops of his high boots. The short sword at his side tapped softly against his thigh. His helmet sat low over his brow, the nose guard dividing the lantern glow across his dark, weathered face. He looked down. The stairs continued, and continued, and continued, not far enough to vanish naturally, far enough to make the eye give up. Loric's hand rose before he meant it to. His thumb found the oath ring. It was cold. It was always cold when he needed it most. The ring sat on the same hand where the yellow strip of cloth had been tied around his wrist. The cloth was faded now, its once bright color dirtied by weather, old blood, and years of hard roads. It had been cut from the banner of the house he had sworn to, and beneath its knot rested the small vial he carried with him into every dark place. The vial clicked faintly against the ring when his hand trembled. He tightened his fingers around both. Memory stirred, but he did not let it rise whole. Not here, not where the stone seemed to listen. He took the first step. His boot landed with a dull sound that did not echo. The second step sounded the same, so did the third. By the 10th, the air had changed. The scent of the ruined watchtower faded behind him, taking with it the smell of rain, dead grass, and broken mortar. What replaced it was older, wet stone, cold iron, stale air that had not known the sun in centuries. By the 30th step, the lantern at his belt burned lower without losing flame. By the 50th, the wall had begun to show marks, not carvings at first, scratches, fingernail scratches. Some ran downward in long, frantic lines. Others clawed upward, broken and shallow, as if whoever made them had been too weak to press deeply. Loric did not stop to count them. Counting had a way of becoming prayer in places like this, and he had not come down to pray to stone. The stair curved steadily left, always left, around the hollow throat in the center. There was no rail at first, only the wall to his right and emptiness to his left. The open center drank the lantern light before it could reach the far side. He descended slowly, not because he feared the dark, because a man who rushed into the unknown usually became part of it. The steps narrowed after a while. Not much, just enough that his shield brushed the wall when the curve tightened. The scrape of wood and iron across stone sounded too loud in the close air. Loric paused, turned slightly, and continued sideways for several steps until the stair widened again. The wall changed there. The stone was no longer smooth. Names had been carved into it. Some were deep and careful, cut by blades. Others were jagged, made by broken nails, desperate metal. Many were too old to read. Some had been crossed out. Some were repeated again and again in different hands. Loric leaned closer to one. The letters were crude. I came for her. His jaw tightened. He rubbed the ring once. Then he kept walking. The stair carried him lower. The air grew wetter. Droplets gathered along the inside edge of his helmet and slid down the nose guard. He could hear them fall from his chin, one after another, onto the steps below. Then another sound came. Soft, rhythmic, scrape, pause, scrape, pause. Loric stopped. The sound came from below. No. From above. He turned slowly. The darkness behind him had folded over the steps he had already taken. His lantern did not reach far, but something moved within its outer glow. Scrape, pause, scrape. A hand appeared first. It came around the curve above him, palm flat on the stair, fingers spread, nails broken to the quick. Then an arm, then a shoulder, then the bent head of a man dragging himself upward on his belly. He was soaked in blood. It matted his hair, it clung to his beard. It darkened the front of his tunic until the cloth seemed black. One side of his face was swollen and a shallow cut ran along his scalp. Blood had dried from his nose to his upper lip, but the worst of it covered his hands. His hands were red to the wrists. The man saw Loric and froze. His eyes widened with a kind of relief so violent it almost looked like terror. "Help me," the man said. His voice scraped worse than his fingers. Loric did not move. The man dragged himself down one more step toward him, though he had been crawling upward before. "Please," he said, "by whatever mercy you still carry, help me." Loric looked him over. There was blood everywhere, but the wounds he could see were not deep enough to account for it. A split lip, torn scalp, bruised cheek, a puncture through the upper arm that had bled, yes, but not enough to drown him in red. Loric's right hand drifted near the hilt of his short sword. "Who did this?" Loric asked. The man shook his head quickly, too quickly. "She did," he said. The stare seemed to grow still around the words. Loric said nothing. The man swallowed. His throat clicked. "Woman below," he said, "sitting on the steps like a broken saint. Don't look at her like that when you find her. That's how she wants to be seen." "Seen how?" "Hurt." The man's eyes flicked toward the hollow center of the stair, then back to Loric. "Helpless." Loric studied him in the lantern glow. "What is your name?" The man hesitated, a small hesitation, but Loric saw it. "Bren," the man said. "Bren Crow." "Why are you here, Bren Crow?" The man laughed once, a weak and ugly thing that turned into a cough. Blood spotted his teeth. "Same as the rest," Bren said. "I came for what the stair took." Loric felt his thumb shift toward the ring again, but he forced his hand still. "What did it take?" Bren looked at Loric's hand, at the ring, at the yellow cloth. His face changed. "Not much. Enough." "You too," Bren whispered. Loric stepped down one stair, putting himself closer but not within easy reach. Bren flinched from him and raised one bloody hand. "Listen to me," Bren said. "Whatever she tells you, it will sound true. That's the danger of her. She uses truth like bait. She'll show you the wound and hide the knife." "What knife?" "The white-handled one," Bren said immediately. Too immediate. Loric's eyes narrowed. Bren saw the suspicion and shook his head hard. "She cut me," he said. "She had a little knife with a pale handle, bone maybe. She was crying when I found her. I tried to help. I did. I only tried to help." His voice tightened around the last sentence. "I only did what I had to." Loric stared him. The lantern at his belt hissed softly, though there was no wind. Bren dragged himself another half-step closer. His fingers left red streaks on the stone. "If she asks for water, refuse her. If she asks for your hand, refuse that too. If she asks you to walk with her, kill her before you take one step farther down." "Why?" Bren's mouth opened. No answer came. For a moment, the only sound was water sliding down the wall. Then Bren leaned in and whispered, "Because she knows where the stair changes." Loric's heart gave one slow, heavy beat. He did not show it. Bren reached for him. Loric moved his boot back. The man's hand slapped the stone where Loric's foot had been. "Please," Bren said. "Help me up. I can't climb. Not alone." Loric looked past him, up the stair. Darkness. He looked down. More darkness. The stair twisted beneath them, indifferent. "How far below?" Loric asked. Bren blinked. "The woman." Bren licked blood from his lip. "Far enough that you'll wish you turned back here." "That is not an answer." Bren's face hardened for half a breath. The plea fell from him like a mask slipping. Then pain returned, fear returned. "Please," he said again. Loric crouched slowly, his chainmail whispering. He reached with his left hand, not his sword hand, and took the edge of Bren's blood-soaked sleeve. He pulled the cloth aside. There, the puncture in the upper arm was shallow. Defensive wound, maybe. Nothing fatal. Bren tried to pull back. Loric held him. "This is not enough blood," Loric said. Bren's breathing changed. The stair seemed to lean closer. "I told you," Bren said. "She cut me." "Where else?" Bren's lips trembled. "Everywhere." Loric released him. Bren clutched his arm to his chest as if Loric had harmed him. The man's eyes went wet. His face broke into something pitiful again. Down here, Loric thought, pity might be another shape of teeth. He stepped aside as much as the stair allowed. Bren looked at the space Loric made for him. "You'll let me pass?" he asked. "I did not say that." Bren looked up sharply. Loric's hand rested on his sword hilt now. The man's expression shifted again, quicker than it should have. Fear became calculation. Calculation became pain. "Please," Bren said. Loric watched him for a long moment. Then he moved his boot. Bren dragged himself upward past him, squeezing against the wall, smearing blood across the stone as his shoulder brushed Loric's boot. The smell of him was iron, sweat, old terror, and something sourer underneath. As he passed, Bren turned his head. His mouth was close to Loric's boot. "She'll ask you to go down," he said. Loric did not answer. Bren smiled then. Barely. She always does. Then he crawled upward into the dark, dragging Red behind him. Loric stood still until the scraping faded. Only when silence returned did his hand rise. He rubbed the oath ring. The yellow cloth shifted against his wrist. The vial clicked softly beneath it. He looked down the stair. The stone below had changed again. The steps were darker now, not wet, stained. He descended.